let's talk recovery post a major event, and what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do. First of all, I think it's down to you, down to an individual, down to the event and type of event, but it's also ultimately down to how you feel. But my recommendation is, just like you would go through a taper into an event, I think you'd probably look the same as the reverse. So you taper up, if that's such a word, but hopefully you know what I mean. So first and foremost, the thing you need to look out for is listen to your body, listen to the energy you have, both in terms of, the inside and the, outside, and just look at it as a whole package. What's important is, especially the first few days after the event, just rest, drink well, eat well, sleep well, and don't do too much. I probably would avoid, exercise. Yes, do some stretching, do some recovery, do those sort of things. I think as you progress into the back half of the first week, I think it's good to sort of do some light work, and that could be swimming, it could be doing turbo sets with low power, low cadence, or even with a little bit of pickups. But ultimately, you should be light. And I think it's okay at the back end of that first week, maybe to do a bit of volume, but not a lot. And it's very low effort. So yes, it's okay to probably maybe do a 2-hour bike ride, either on a turbo or go outside, but it should be completely light. No hard work, and keep the heart rate low. The second week, I think you can start progressing a little bit up. And what I mean by that is still no intervals, intensity, hard pavement pounding. It's sort of maybe more frequency of those lower effort things you want to do, and be sensible. The second week you could probably do maybe a couple of turbo sets, still fairly light, but maybe there's a little bit more power in there, or a little bit more interval, but nothing too major. Back end of that second week, you could potentially do a half-hour sort of stair climb, or on a machine at the gym, or sort of do a treadmill with an incline, and maybe get into a little bit of a light jog. But it's only 30-minute stuff, mid that 2 week, and then coming to the end of that 2 week, maybe going out on a longer bike, and maybe you could do an hour run on a sort of a trail, but just keeping it nice and simple and light. And then as we get into week 3, I think you can start building up into longer sessions and start building into sort of some intervals, whether that's high heart rate, a little bit more high power, but start getting into sort of back into the program, so to speak, but still at 60%, and being very mindful of what you're doing. But yes, so for the week 3, for example, for myself, I would have been doing a little bit more turbo sets, increasing the power, but doing intervals, so 3 minutes, 2 minutes on, 3 minutes on, high cadence, still not massive power, but getting to 60-70% of sort of where I want to be in terms of the power and FTP. And then I'd sort of do some runs again midweek, 45 minutes, an hour, maybe an hour 10. A lot of it still low base, but with some pickups. And come the weekend, I'd be doing sort of getting back into my long rides, but still low heart rate, all base work, zone 2s. And again, Sunday, getting into sort of like an hour and a half, hour and 45-minute long run, zone 2, and just focusing on form, heart rate, and just feeling good and enjoying it, not feeling the stress of gotta complete this workout at this pace and that power and this long. Just relax in these sessions, but still keeping active. And then week 4, you're building back up again, but still not going crazy, but you're getting into your 70, 80s, you know, sort of like effort wise, maybe a bit of volume, like the volume of like 70, 80% of your volume back, but progressing back up. But all the way through, you're listening to your body, you're eating well, you are recovering well, and that could be sort of like good sleep still, doing regular massage, whether that's a Therascan. I've actually got Hyperice trousers which work really well. And then sort of like getting to week 5, which I'm coming into now, post my event, which was the Arc of Attrition 104-mile winter race, 23rd of Jan, is I'll start getting back into sort of like my main training program. So getting back, obviously I've been back into the gym and doing some strength conditioning, but lightweight stuff. But I'll be getting back into my main program because my A race is Ironman Hamburg early June. So getting back into long bikes and bricks, strength conditioning, getting back into volume, getting back into some of the interval stuff, but not too worried about pace on interval, more heart rate, effort, zone work. So yeah, but don't be a slob. Like through that 4 weeks, you know, think about that taper into an event and then you're tapering back out and progressing back up into your volume. And just enjoy that month building back up. Don't put pressure on yourself, but keep active is my advice, and listen to your body. Hopefully that's useful. I'm just on a nice walk, and then later on I'm going into the gym to do my strength conditioning that I need to be doing. Over and out.